Hello, and welcome to week 3 of the UNPL Academy. I'm Zand, and I'm the coach of your San Diego Hydras. We are currently 1-1. I believe we're +3. Still in the competition. Hopefully, we don't throw this week kind of like we did last week. I feel like we definitely could have won had we saved the walking wake instead of the kilowatt. Now that I've had some time to think about the game, I think that was our game losing play. So hopefully we learn from that. Maybe don't sack wake so early this time. But anyway, our opponent this week is I believe Mr. HydroX. No, I believe he's 0-2 currently, which is totally fine. He's had two insane opponents for his first 2 weeks. So it's been tough on him. He's a good battler. I really like the sets he brings, and he makes really good videos. So I'll be sure to put his link down below. His team name is the SoCal Solgaleos. So another SoCalian, so someone on the same time zone for once, not on the East Coast or in Europe. So we actually get to battle at a decent time of day. But anyway, let's get into. I will have timestamps in the description if you want to skip straight to the battle. If you don't really want to know my thoughts on his team and then what I brought for it, you'll definitely be able to see that as we get into the battle. But anyway, his team, we're looking at another super top-heavy team, honestly. He's got 7 huge threats, and then he's got 5 very low-tier Pokemon. A couple of them do some things, and then a couple of them I really don't expect to show up. Although I have said that a couple times now, and I've had to deal with a Charizard week 1, and then a Grumpig week 2, and that Grumpig was actually huge for my opponent. So I should anticipate these low tiers this week, but I don't know that I'm giving them the respect they deserve, but we'll see if it comes back to bite me. Anyway, regarding his high tiers, our opponent's first overall pick was the Gouging Fire. So I'm using it in the other league right now. I love it. I think it's a super cool Pokemon despite how kind of one-dimensional it is. It's a Fire Dragon, base 91 speed, hanging out with Landorus in that speed tier. It's got Dragon Dance, it's got Heat Crash because it's deceptively heavy as a Pokemon. It could also run Flare Blitz if it wants to be sure to hit those base 120s. It's got a couple Dragon moves at its disposal between Dragon Claw and Scale Shot. It's also got some coverage and Earthquake, some Steel coverage. And then it gets, like I said, Dragon Dance, and then it also gets Morning Sun, so it can set up. Probably wants to run Boots, but I know that at least for week 1, I did watch his battle, and he liked Booster Speed. Which, if he does run that this week, I think he could be a max of like 168 attack IVs, so he won't be as threatening, physically threatening, if he does run Booster Speed. So maybe we can deal with that. So I don't think it's too bad into me. I do think he probably brings it in some regard, but I'm not super worried. His overall pick, too, is interesting to me because it seems to be Deoxys Defense, unless he made some trades. Very defensive Pokemon, obviously. Deoxys Defense, it's in the name. Very versatile. I've used this thing a couple times in the past when it's been allowed, and honestly, I think it's underrated. I really like it as a Pokemon. It can run hazards, it can run setup, it can run pure utility with things like Taunt and Teleport, Nightshade, so that it doesn't like get completely walled out. But it can also run Calm Mind sets. I've run like Calm Mind before. I think it gets stored power now. And obviously gets recovery, and then it gets pressure, so it can pressure stall certain moves out, like this Pyro Ball on this Cinderace that I'm bringing this week. The moves that are low PP, it can run me out twice as fast, so that's pretty annoying. Again, it's kind of passive, especially if it doesn't set up, so I hope we have enough checks in the back for it, but it is definitely threatening for our team this week. It's got the Corviknight, so still flying type, U-turn, body press, iron defense, could also run, defog U-turn, but could also be like an iron defense set. Honestly, a really solid Pokemon. It does well at walling things like, well, a lot of things wall Screamtail, but it particularly walls Screamtail's dual stab really well, and is just a general nuisance for my team. If it shows up versus me, I hope it doesn't run Covert Cloak. I'm hoping he doesn't respect the Naclstack and doesn't bring a Covert Cloak Mon. If he does, it'll be either Corviknight or the Deoxys Defense, in my opinion. But maybe he's got another plan in mind. But I'm hoping he just completely ignores it in prep. But yeah, Corviknight, super solid for keeping hazards away, for U-turning or being a late game cleaner with body press. Luckily, we have a Ghost type, so we can kind of deal with that. He's got the Rapid Strike Urshifu, so adding on to these, huge threats, another physical attacker, really big hits out of and always critting rapid strikes along with close combat. Fighting water coverage is super hard to deal with, honestly. I'm really lucky I have a really natural check to Urshifu Rapid. Could run U-turn. I think maybe it runs Band versus me. Maybe it runs more of like a bulk up set. But its speed tier is kind of awkward into me because I have a lot of speed on this team. So it could also just run Scarf. So I do anticipate it to show up in some regard. I just don't know what that's going to be. He's got the Volcarona, obviously super threatening. Without Terra, it makes it a little bit more manageable. It kind of limits its coverage to Fire, Bug, Grass, and Psychic. So that's one positive. The negative is that, you know, a couple Quiver Dances and it gets super out of hand. Luckily, because of Volcarona and Chansey that we're going to go over in the future, I am running physical moves on every Pokemon I'm bringing this week except for Sinistcha. So it shouldn't be able to set up completely for free on any of my Pokemon. So I think we've got it pretty well in check, but if it does come in on like a turn that we're weakened by, I don't know, some kind of stat drop, then it could be an issue if it gets a chance to set up a Quiver Dance or two. So we're going to try to prevent that. He's got the King Gambit as well, so talking about late game cleaners, he's got a lot of options. King Gambit is probably the easiest because of Supreme Overlord. Could also run Defiant if he wanted, but I think in singles, Supreme Overlord is just disgusting into pretty much every team you bring it against. Obviously boosts his damage up to 50% if I knock out the rest of his team, so Sucker Punches become really threatening into me. Luckily, I am bringing a lot of disruption, so I can work around it at least somewhat, although I do think if I lose this game, it will be to King Gambit, just because there's some things I could have run, like Will-O-Wisp on the Cinderace, that would have helped me kind of shut it down completely, but at the end of the day, I felt like I didn't have room. I felt like there were just other options that were better. So we'll see. That's the end of his kind of top tiers. So I do expect at least 4 of them to show up, if not 5. And then I expect something from this bottom group to show up. At least 1, maybe more. He's really liked these low tiers in his first couple battles. Number 1's Chansey. Obviously, probably the bulkiest Pokemon on the special side in the entire game. Huge health, huge speed F, and then Eviolite boosts it to the moon. So it's a forever check to things like Walking Wake and Sinistcha, so I highly expect him to bring it, honestly. If he does bring it, he does have to run, like, something to hit Sinistcha, because Seismic Toss will not be able to hit us. So I'm not sure how he's going to try to get around that. Could just Thunder Wave us and not care that we're setting up Calm Minds in its face. But we'll see. We'll see what his plan for that is. But I do definitely think it shows up for the Walking Wake. He's got Smeargle as one of his 3 Terra Captains. And honestly, I think this is a big play by him. We had like 16 to 18, I think 18 Terra points to give out. This man spent 7 of his 18 Terra points, which I think bold play. But honestly, he didn't pick Mons that were specifically for being Terra Captains, so I kind of get it. So his first one's Smeargle. Obviously learns every move in the game. I'm a big fan of Smeargle. I like his team pretty well, all things considered. I think it's pretty good. I like the different modes that he could run. It could run Terra Ghost to stop you from spinning in its face, getting rid of the hazards it really likes to set up, and it could also be Terra Poison, I guess, to deal with Toxic Spikes. Not that we're bringing them this week, but it does give him a backup check to Toxic Spikes. The 1 week he did bring this, he brought Sticky Web, Burning Bulwark, which is kind of sick, because you don't really ever know what it's going to do, so you just try to hit it in the face, and if it smacks you with something like a Burning Bulwark or a King Shield, some kind of attack that throws you off, that's huge, and it can get around things like Taunt because it can learn moves like Nuzzle and just paralyze you even if it gets taunted. So very versatile. If it shows up, I do expect it to be the lead, so I have a pretty good idea what I want to do against it, but I'm not super concerned about Smeargle. It's got Go-Goat. Love this. It's the exact same Go-Goat that I have in my other draft league right now. It's Terra Grass, Ground, Water. All 3 are immune to grass type moves with Sap Sipper, and then Bulk Up is just the bread and butter of Go-Goat. So prep for that specific set. If he brings like Choice Banded Terra Ground, then maybe we're in a little trouble, but we'll see. He's got Murkrow. He's got 3 1-pointers as the rest. Go-Goat, was his 2nd Terra Captain. Then he's got Murkrow, Seviper, and Dedenne. He did bring Murkrow once. I don't really know what it does in singles. It's got Foul Play, Thunder Wave, Roost. It could do like Feather Dance, Shenanigans, U-Turn, maybe Defog, but I don't know. It's just not that big of a Pokemon. I guess it could Taunt if I tried to set up with something, but I don't really see it showing up versus me. I think I have really good checks into something like a Murkrow, unless he ran like Prankster Rain Dance on it, hard expecting me to bring Sun. I guess that would be one really good answer that Murkrow could be. Otherwise, I don't really see it showing up. So Viper is his third Terra Captain. It's only 1 point. It's Poison, Grass, and Dark. I didn't prep for it at all, truly, because I have some natural checks to it. It could definitely run like Coil, Terra Dark, Sucker Punch with like Gunk Shot and another coverage move and be way more threatening than I'm giving it credit for. But I don't know. That would require it to have several turns to set up, and I don't think I'm going to give it that. And he's got Daytonay. So Little Electric Fairy, very weak without Life Orb or Choice specs, can Nuzzle and be annoying with Thunderwave. Dazzling Gleam, and then it has Cheek Pouch, so it gets one big heal from a berry, and I guess it could run Recycle. I'm not too concerned about it. It might show up. I'm still not concerned about it. So yeah, that's our opponent's team. Let's see what we're bringing. So first Pokemon I thought of, it's not the first one on this list, is actually Naclstack. Terra Water Naclstack does so much work into him. It walls out Gouging Fire pretty easily. It walls out Corviknight completely. It doesn't take super effective damage from Body Press anymore. And doesn't have to worry about Iron Head like Fairy would. It walls Urshifu to an extent. Close combat from a banded Urshifu can still two-shot us. But if he leads Urshifu, then he has to call turn 1, whether we're Terra Fairy or Terra Water, with close combat or Rapid Strikes. So we'll see, or Surging Strikes, sorry. So we'll have to see what he decides to do there. Honestly, if he leads Urshifu, I'll probably recover turn 1 just so I don't get two-shot, because this thing is so important. It can always take 1 from King Gambit. It can actually always take 2, or usually take 2 from Volcarona. I did dedicate a lot of investment to physical defense this week, but we do have some Spadef just in case Volcarona gets kind of crazy, and Salt Cure kind of blows it back. And then obviously we're immune to status, so if he leads Smeargle, then we just get a Salt Cure on that. He can set up whatever hazards he wants because we have Cinderace. If he decides to bring lead hazard Smeargle and sacks it immediately, then we just court change and we say, okay, here's the hazards, you can have them. We're not worried about it. So if he saves Smeargle, it might be trouble. Like maybe if he sets webs up on me, I court change them, and then later he sets them up again. That could be an issue if he's heavy on heavy duty boots. But I'm hoping it doesn't come to that. I'm hoping he just leads sacks Smeargle. I do wish I could have run a different move on this outside of Iron Defense, because I think just raw body presses are strong enough. But there's really not a whole lot this thing can do outside of this exact set. So we've got the Pyro Ball, obviously just really good coverage. And burning a lot of his team that wants to come in on a Pyro Ball is kind of huge. So burning like an Urshifu or any of these physical threats, even something like a Ground or Water Go-Go, if it gets burnt, it's suddenly a lot less hard to deal with. Did want Will-O-Wisp, but I ended up going Low Kick just because that's a guaranteed KO on the King Gambit, and we're very health focused on this Cinderace, so we should always live a hit. If it's like Black Glasses, 5 teammates down, Sucker Punch, we probably don't live it. Otherwise, I think we're okay. Low Kick's also just huge into his other mons. So like Gouging Fire takes a ton of damage from Low Kick because it's so heavy. And Urshifu is actually also surprisingly heavy. So Low Kick could take it out if we get it below half. And we confirm it's not Scarf. We've got Taunt. That's just nice into Deoxys defense if it tries to come in and set up on us. I think it's really just a nice click in front of it. And also turns us into a Dark type. So if he tries to click like Psycho Boost or something into us, something we're immune. And then we've got the Core Change just in case he brings Smeargle, sets up hazards. This is our hazard control this week. So yeah, it's a really solid Pokemon. I hope it puts in work, and it speed creeps Daytonay. Just in case he brings it, because people keep bringing low tier stuff against me, I thought I might as well. Jigglypuff, Screamtail, the Jigglybuff, also running the same speed, just in case, because it was like, 8 extra EVs to make sure we outsped Daytonay instead of just his Volcarona, so I thought it was worth it. We got Play Rough just because it does punch Chansey for a little harder, also hits Volcarona, Calm Mind, Deoxys defense, Quiver Dance on Volcarona. If any of them decide to boost their special defense, Play Rough still at least chunks them for a little bit. Wish is really nice because we do have a Assault Vest Mon, and we do have a couple other Pokemon that don't really have the ability to heal, but would love to be healed. So I think Wish is super nice. Encore is to stop things like Deoxys defense and Corviknight from getting out of hand with setup. And then Thunderwave, I really like the idea of Thunderwave because if we Encore something, he's probably going to want to switch out. Whatever comes in doesn't really want to get paralyzed. He only has a couple of things that are immune to it. Actually only has, Ground, Go-Goat, and Daytonay are his only real paralysis immunities. So slowing something down would be huge because even our slow Pokemon can outpace some things when they're at half speed. So yeah, I'm super excited for this. I think it's a really good blanket check into a lot of his Pokemon. I don't want it to get worn down as early this game, so we're going to try to avoid using it if we can. We've got the Sinistra. So if for whatever reason I decide not to Terra Naclstack turn 1, I do want to Terrasilize the Sinistra into a water type. Grass Ghost is resisted by King Gambit, so we'd be relying on a 20% burn chance, and I don't like that. So I decided to run Scald instead of Shadow Ball or Hex, because I do think that 30% burn chance and hitting it for neutral damage is nice. Plus, if we become a water type, that's pretty huge. We got the Rocky Helmet. This is our ultimate like Urshifu rapid check. We come in on it for free. We're immune to close combat, and Searching Strikes takes 3 turns of Rocky Helmet chip, or we confirm that he's like protected pads, which is suddenly not scary at all into us. Calm Mind, I don't really plan on setting up with this, but if we get the opportunity, we might as well. And then Strength Sap is just really nice. I really don't expect King Gambit to be Defiant, so Strength Sap into Gouging Fire, King Gambit, Corviknight even, just stealing their health away and keeping this thing healthy is pretty nice for us. Got the, this is my favorite set this week. We got the Assault Vest, Walking Weight, Surf and Draco, super free clicks as usual. He doesn't have a whole lot that wants to take both. And then I expect, if he brings Chansey, it's coming in on this every time. So as soon as this thing comes in, we're clicking knockoff. We're knocking off that Chansey's Eviolite and making it a lot easier for us to deal with. And then we're going to flip turn out on it, or on whatever else wants to come in. And we're going to just pivot. We are Assault Vest, so that this thing handles Volcarona really well. Surf should do a huge chunk to it. If Surf doesn't knock it out, say it gets a Quiver Dance up first, then we have Flip Turn to hit it on the physical side for super effective damage. We did still have to run Negative Attack Nature, but we still do decent enough chip. And Draco, I just like in conjunction with Flip Turn, because sure, we drop our special attack, but then we just Flip Turn out and we're fine, and we get a lot of momentum out of it. So pretty happy about that. Now, the last slot, I did want to bring something like Donphan. I thought Donphan, you know, super consistent, reliable Pokemon, but I'm doing it every week. I want to do something a little fun. You know, if it's YouTube, we got to do something a little fun. So I'm bringing the Sweeping Quillfish set. So this is Hisuian Quillfish. No Eviolite this week, which is kind of scary. So we're not taking hits that well, but we do have enough health to, I think, always live an Adamant Earthquake from Gouging Fire from full. So if we have to, we can do that. And that's without Intimidate. So, you know, still reasonably bulky. Max Attack, Adamant, Swords Dance, and then Scale Shot. And honestly, if we get 1 speed boost, we're in prime position to potentially just win with this guy. Obviously, Corviknight takes 1, and King Gambit takes 1. But we can definitely steamroll and do some serious damage. And honestly, if this thing trades 2 for 1 with this team, I think we're in great shape. So that's kind of our plan, is to trade 2 for 1 with this. The reason I'm running Pin Missile over something else is, A, I needed coverage for King Gambit. And B, it's way stronger than Liquidation. So Liquidation's base 85. Sure, it would hit the Volcarona for more damage, but Pin Missile is base 100 at minimum with loaded dice. Could be base 125. That's huge. That potentially 2-shots King Gambit when it comes in, even if it's got some bulk invested. So pretty excited for this set, honestly. I think it sets up on a lot of his more passive Pokemon. And honestly, I just want to see Loaded Dice, Scale Shot, and Pin Missile go crazy this game. But anyway, maybe Donphan was better. I didn't bring Ninetales. I didn't really want to give him Sun because the dude has Volcarona and Gouging Fire. So I think that's like an easy way to throw the game by just giving him free setup. Once again, Bisharp just sucked into this matchup. I hate it that it's bad into every matchup so far. But that's the way draft goes. You know, I needed it to fill some specific roles. It's filling them. It might be forcing prep, but it hasn't shown up yet. Kilowatt Roll just didn't seem great. Like, it's just not strong enough to break through some of his more defensive Pokemon. It's really good in Corviknight, but outside of that, I was just like, I'm not sure. It's good in Corviknight, but it's good in Urshifu as long as it's not Scarf. But if Urshifu's Scarf, then we just lose to it anyway. So I wasn't a big fan of that. And then no Levani. Sticky Web's not that important to me this week. His team's quite a bit slower than ours at base, and then we have Thunder Wave, so not too worried. But anyway, yeah, that's it. We'll get straight into the battle. Alright, and we are locked in, ready to battle. The game audio is so loud in my ears, so I'm going to try to find a music that's a little quieter. Oh, well, he's already here. Alright, so we're ready. Let me get the team and the damage calc real quick. That's probably important. So, of course, the Daytonae's here. Why wouldn't he bring Daytonay? I I'm glad I speed crept for it and didn't completely ignore it. But people keep bringing these low tiers against me, and it's kind of crazy. This third week in a row, low tier fairy type. So very much learning what my opponents like to bring against me. Naclstack looks like a pretty solid lead here. No Urshifu, huh? Alright, that's good news for us. We know Naclstack's our lead, I think. Right? We still wanted to be water type into this team, specifically for Corviknight and Gouging Fire. So if we look at our prep doc real quick, let's look at the matchup. I did not bring, if it decides to load, one of those nights, you know. I did not bring Slitherwing, I didn't like it into this matchup. Ninetales, Donphan, Bisharp, Kilowattrel, or Levani. And he did not bring Murkrow, no Seviper, no Go-Goat, no Smeargle, no Urshi, no Volcarona. That's huge. I'm so happy to see no Volcarona. So he is really weak to ground. Corviknight is his only ground switch in, and we didn't bring Earthquake. So, not great on our part. Also pretty weak to fire. His only fire switch in is the Gouging Fire, so that's good news for us. Obviously, no, I guess he didn't bring a single Terra Pokemon, huh? Yeah, he left all 3 Terra Pokemon at home. So, don't have to worry about that. So, he leads the Dedenne. So we actually don't want a Terra in front of this turn 1. Because it water type obviously would make us weak to electric. I can't believe he brought this. I can't believe people keep bringing their baby Pokemon against me. It's driving me crazy. So Choice Specs Dedenne, if we don't Terra, never 2-shots us. Luckily the EVs just worked out that way. Specs, Timid, Thunderbolt does 49% max, so we are in good shape. So I am just going to click Salt Cure. It hits everything. He Volt Switches. It does about 60 damage. So not Specs, for sure. Brings in the Corviknight. Is he Covert Cloak? He's Pressure. Nope, he's being Salt Cured. Nice. So that's going to do 25%. That's huge. Oh man, I love that. So Dedenne's Volt Switch. Corviknight comes in. Not leftovers. So we are at 263. So that did 19% from Dedenne. So he's not even fully special attack invested. So it's more of a bulky set. We could Terra in front of this. That does make us kind of weak into the Dedenne. But I could just Iron Defense immediately, honestly. I mean, yeah, I kind of like just... Why not, right? Terra. And just go for an Iron Defense. So, Naclstack actually getting to do something this week. We did bring it week 1, and it just kind of sat in the back the whole time. So I am glad to get to use it this time. I hope the game audio is okay for you guys. I know it was a little loud week 1, so I turned it down, but man, it is loud for me. Alright, so Body Press does 43. Which is not threatening at all. And he gets Salt Cured again. So very likely to switch here. Could bring back Dedenne. I think I will just recover though. I think it's safest for me to just recover. So Corviknight Body Press doing 43 damage. If we're terastallized. It's max defense. Okay, good to know. Alright, hard switches. Back into Dedenne. Totally fun. So we heal back to full. Obviously Volt Switch does twice as much as it would before. We would live 1, but I'm not willing to take that damage. So I do think I will just go into... Could definitely go into Sinistcha. It really doesn't threaten it at all. I don't want it getting paralyzed early, but I think it's okay if we bring it in. So we will switch out, give up our defense boost, but it's fine. It was more to threaten it than anything. Bring in the Sinisha. Super Fang. Alright. So it is definitely a utility set. Might go for a Nuzzle here, which I would not appreciate. Might also go for a Volt Switch. And if he did go for a Volt Switch, what would he want to bring in? Probably the Chansey, right? I mean, I could go into this, but I really don't want to get it paralyzed. I could go back, but if he Volt Switches, that's going to hurt. I mean, he's not doing anything to us. I'm just going to click Scald, see if we can't get a burn. He Nuzzles. Alright, so... It gets the paralysis, but it's on a slow Pokemon anyway, so it doesn't matter too much. If we get fully paralyzed sometimes, I guess it's okay. We do get a Scald. It does 30-ish%. So that's a kind of bulky Dedenne then, huh? Sinisha versus Dedenne. Not specs. It keeps showing me specs. I mean, it's probably like max health. Maybe full Fizz Def. Not really sure what that would be for, but it seems like it's at least health and speed, maybe. I do think he might switch here, now that he knows I have Scald. I mean, I think his easiest play is just Chansey, right? So I don't know why he wouldn't go that, unless he just has no way to hit us. So we'll just go for a Scald. He does Volt this time, so we know almost is a full moveset. I can assume the last move is Gleam. Oh, he might be... No, he's not Assault Vest, because that Scald did too much, I think, to be Assault Vest. Maybe. But he has shown 3 attacking moves, so it could be. So, we'll have to find out. Could also just be a utility set that happens to have 4 attacking moves, because most of Dedenne's utility is in its offense. So, pretty cool. I do anticipate Chansey to want to come in here, which is fine. Corviknight. Okay, so if we get a burn, that would be kind of sick. But we could also get fully parried, which we don't. Scald comes out, does 20-ish odd %. We don't get a burn, which is fine. Nacl comes back in for free. He probably roosts here, I would imagine. He does roost. Totally fine. He doesn't have anything that wants to get Salt Cured, I'm pretty sure. So we'll just go for that. Pressure is actually kind of annoying with Salt Cure, now that I'm looking at it. But it's something we gotta deal with. Hopefully this is Dedenne. Hopefully we can just wear it down in the early game. It is Dedenne. Nice. So we do get to hurt it quite a bit. We can see if it's Citrus Cheek Pouch here. Let's see if Salt Cure knocks it down. It does. Knocks it below 50. Citrus Berry? Citrus Berry. Nice. Okay, good to know. Citrus. It might be Recycle last move then, which would be super annoying. So we can play a little dance here, go back and forth between Corviknight, Dedenne, and Sinisha Naclstack. I just don't have a better play, truly. So I will go into my Sinisha. He could definitely just freely Volt Switch here, and as he does, totally fine. I just can't really risk the Para or Super Fang at this point in the game. Later I can try to out-dance the dance, but for right now it's just not worth it. Corviknight or something more sinister, because he knows he gets a free switch here. Honestly, Sinistra doesn't have as much value with Urshifu not being in the game, or he not bringing Urshifu, so we definitely can play a little more reckless with this guy. So he brings out me, which is King Gambit. Okay, so he's calling himself the king. Could Swords Dance, could also Dark Move pretty freely. We don't have the best switch-ins into King Gambit. Definitely could go into Screamtail, but if he's like super offensive, that could be a problem. We always take 2 unless he outright Iron Heads immediately, which I don't know if he would do. So I think I will go into... I could also go into Cinderace. But we're taking so much damage from a Kowtow. Actually, why don't we just go into this? Yeah, Naclstack is kind of made for this. I don't know why I was debating on going Scream Tail on a Steel type. That's not very smart. Kowtow, okay. We can see how offensive he is, but does about 33%. We do threaten it with the body press here. It doesn't KO pretty much ever. I could Iron Defense, but I do think Daytonay has a chance to come in here, but I also can't really... I mean, he did 105, right? So max roll's 115, so yeah, he could KO me in 2, so I'm just going to click Recover here. Yeah, so he does switch back into Daytonay. It's going to be a little bit of a slow game, but Daytonay doesn't have any more healing unless it has Recycle. So we'll recover up. So I do think we need to start making some plays fairly soon. I mean, at the end of the day, with 0 investment, Thunderbolt's never two-shotting us. So we could stay in, but this guy's so important. But as long as he can Volt Switch, he's a problem. You know, this time I think he won't Nuzzle, right? I think he Volt Switches again. I'm pretty sure he Volt Switches again. So it will make the switch into Scream Tail this time, just to kind of mix up our plays, not be super predictable. And we will see who his answer to this is. Does Volt Switch, does 58 damage. So yeah, it's no investment or very little. Just good to know. Does the King Gambit want to come back in? Chansey comes in. Okay, interesting. Maybe tries to get rocks up. Do show leftovers. Chansey is tiny. Do you see how small that Chansey is compared to Scream Tail? That's kind of wild. I can't just paralyze it. It's probably natural cure. I mean, it's not doing much to us. I could also wish, or I could just go into Knackle. Honestly, I do think I'm just going to pivot into the Knackle. Knackle's just pretty free into his entire team, so we're going to use it as much as we can. It's going to be a long battle. I'm sorry in advance. Okay, so it shows Thunderwave, but we are the Purifying Salt. So luckily this guy just blanket checks so much of his team. We'll go for the Salt Cure again. Hopefully he's not Recycled Daytonay. If he's not Recycled Daytonay, he only has so many switch-ins, which is really nice for us. So it does switch, back into the Daytonay, back into the Daytonay. Ugh. So annoying. We'll hit it with a Salt Cure, do like, you know, 15% with the hit, 10, 15, and then Salt Cure will do like 12%. I think maybe he switches up his move this time and doesn't Volt Switch. I could also recover because we would be in a great position if he did just Volt Switch, but if we get Nuzzled, I'd be sad. And also if he doesn't hit us, like if he recycles here, I would be sad. So I'm just going to go back into the Sinistra this time. Maybe we can get a Strength Sap. I'd love to get a knockout so we can confirm King Gambit's not Defiant so we don't just get obliterated. Alright, shows last move Dazzling Gleam. And it crits us. Not that it matters very much. So, last move is Dazzling. He showed Gambit, he showed Kowtow. And he's presumed max attack. And then he's got Chansey with the T-Wave. So I do think he switches here. I go for Strength Sap. The only way this is bad is if King Gambit's Defiant or if he goes Chansey. So we're low, but we do heal a pretty big amount, assuming we can get a Strength Sap off here. So Daytonay's like 50% now, so running out of switch-ins onto our Naclstack. So soon enough, it kind of goes crazy, which is good for us. Hasn't brought in Gouging Fire yet, hasn't brought in Deoxys yet, so we still have no clue what they want to do. Oh, this would be great if it's not Defiant to go ahead and get it at -1. We do get a Strength Sap off. Don't be Defiant, please. We heal, back to full, all the way back. And yeah, that's good for us. Alright, we will just go straight back into the Knackle. We are winning this exchange because Daytonay is slowly but surely getting whittled down, and Knackle remains full health. Does just go for another Kowtow, keeps me honest with the switch. Only did, what is that, 70 that time? Oh, he is at -1. So we are kind of free to go for a Salt Cure or Body Press here, so we'll just go for the Salt Cure. He can't two-shot us if we have to switch this out. So, very slow early game, but we are winning the war. Corviknight comes in. This can't beat me, I don't think. So we do just get a Salt Cure off. And then next turn, I guess I recover. I could also Body Press. So, big damage. Yep. Probably Roost here to get back up, maybe. I don't know if I really need to recover. I think I actually will. I could Salt Cure again if he decides to switch. I could also Body Press. I mean, I don't really know what he wants to do, right? Iron Defense is a bad play because Daytonay always forces me out, but I don't really want to waste a recover because I think they're pretty important. I think I can go Body Press this turn. So he does Roost, so this will be super effective. That doesn't mean it's going to do a lot of damage, but that does mean it's going to do twice as much as it would have. Yeah, so not great. So yeah, that's about as you'd expect. I don't know that he Roosts again. Oh, I took Rocky Helmet damage. Okay, that's good to know. I didn't even notice that until just now. Helmet, Body Press, we know it's Roost. So I definitely can recover here because I'm pretty much at half and he might try to hit me. Hard switches, okay. Calls the recover, goes into the Daytonay. Chilling at 50%. So yeah, we are dangerously close to just kind of winning the game with Naclstack, which is really cool. Obviously, Deoxys is a wild card. He hasn't used it to set up hazards or anything, so that worries me a little bit. But I think it's okay. I think whatever set it is, as long as we keep our Screamtail around, we should be able to handle it. So we do go into our Sinistcha. He does Volt Switch, predictably, but we can't really do anything about it. There's no reason to take that much damage on Naclstack for no reason. Does King Gambit come back in? King Gambit, Gouging Fire. Deoxys. Chansey. He really bring anything on this. It really does not have a great matchup into pretty much his entire team. Because he didn't bring the things we brought this for. Which is fine, you know? That's why you bring the things you bring to try to cover as best you can for their whole team. I didn't try to hard call what he brought. People love their low tier fairies, man. This league has shown me that the low tier fairies go crazy. I think he had to actually deal with the low tier fairy his week 1 as well. His opponent brought like Fairy Crocolore. It was pretty cool. Does go the King Gambit. There's no reason for us not to go Knackle unless he Swords Dances this time. Would he though? He might. If he's Swords Dance, he almost assuredly goes for it here. But I mean, we could go this. You think he's gonna Swords Dance this time? I think he's gonna Swords Dance this time, especially if he has it. So I'm gonna go Screamtail. Obviously, if it gets hurt by a big Kowtow, that's not good for us. But I think he definitely tries to switch up his move and advance the game state. Does just Kowtow. Okay, so I was wrong. We live 2 of those, which is nice. Get leftovers back, so we're still well above half, so we're okay. Did not go for Swords Dance, which is fine. So now I will double into the Knackle. Fool me once, right? Honestly, if we went Knackle out there, we get another Salt Cure, that's another hit on Daytonay, and it gets maybe one more switch in, so interesting plays. We'll go into our Knackle now. He switches, so as long as this isn't Daytonay, this is a good switch for me. It is Daytonay. Nice. Good switch, good switch. Man, I wish I had rocks right now, huh? That would have been pretty amazing to get up versus him. I mean, this is hurt now. I really don't want to bring it in on this, so we're just going to keep going back and forth. Maybe this time I actually sack Sinistcha into the Gambit, but I really don't think it's worth sacking this until Daytonay is dead, so maybe not. Super Fangs tries to hard call me doing something different, so I respect that. I do think I just click Scald here. Fish for a burn. Does get a Volt Switch. Does King Gambit always knock out this Pokemon? Should knock me out, actually. Maybe after the Volt Switch damage, it's like 76 to 90%. I don't think it knocks me out, though. So, he's got some choices here. He could definitely do, like, Deoxys here instead. But he does just, he like to go back to King Gambit. So we do fire off a Scald. We do finally get damage on him. Nice. Like 20-ish%. Wow. No burn again. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's about how much Scald's doing anyway. So not great. Probably Kowtows again. I'm not going to try to call it. If he doubles into Daytonay, he's advancing the game state better than we are, but eventually it's going to break. We switch first, so that inclines me to believe he didn't switch. He does Sword Stance here, okay. So, it's kind of what we were worried about. Nacl is no longer a very good switch into this. So Salt Cure is doing 25% plus a little bit. Body Press is maybe KOing. So I am just going to go for the Body Press. Oh, hard switches, okay. Not willing to give up King Gambit this early in the game. I get it. Daytonay comes back in, but it's going to eat a Body Press. Alright, he can't come back in. Oh, we crit. Well, may matter, may not. Probably Volt Switches here. Makes me kind of want to go into something like Cinderace or even Wake here. Just so the Volt Switch... yeah, just so the Volt isn't just back into King Gambit. Yeah, so I like Wake. If he nuzzles here, that's a great play, and he got me. But I don't think he nuzzles into a Rocky Helmet Sinistra that's come in 15 times already, you know? So he does Volt Switch. We should take very minimal damage. Still take 50. Interesting. So, might have played our hand a little that we are AV, but this was mainly for Volcarona, so since it's not here, we can be a little more reckless. Chansey is the switch in of choice, so we can either knock this off or we can flip turn out. So, yeah, I mean, we're doing nothing. Knockoff would be great, but I really don't want this to get paralyzed, so I'm just going to flip turn. Oh, nice, he doubles. So we get a big flip turn here into Daytonay. Okay, sweet. We get big damage on Daytonay, and we get to bring something else in on it. If it doesn't die to this, it might just go down. Okay, nice. We knock out the Daytonay. Massive. It's finally gone. Naclstack is so free into the rest of this team. So, Daytonay's gone. We know that King Gambit has Sword Stance. So if we go Cinderace, maybe he goes Gouging Fire. We don't want to bait that in. We could get leftovers on the Scream Tail. And then we threaten pretty much anything that's not King Gambit or Corviknight. Could go this. I don't think it's time yet, though. This baits in King Gambit and puts us in a bad position. I think I just want leftovers on the Scream Tail. And then if he goes into something that can set up, we can Encore or Thunder Wave it. So we'll get our leftovers. Oh, I will move my face cam as well, because I've definitely been covering the clock this whole time. I have to move it back and forth between the team builder and the battle, so I forget. Also, I did get rid of the lines on the side. I was going to put the Pokemon icons on them, but it just really wasn't worth it. It's a lot of time, and I'm trying to learn some new editing software right now, so it's more time consuming than I'd care to admit. So yeah, Corviknight comes in. We don't do anything to Corviknight, but Naclstack does. So at worst here, he doubles into Deoxys, I suppose. Does just Roost. Gets back to full, which, you know, good for Corviknight. But you no longer have Data as your switch in, so what do you bring in to take Assault Cure? It's kind of the big question here. He also has Pressure Corviknight. I almost expected Mirror Armor, honestly, because I have Intimidate and some other moves that can drop stats. Deoxys is the switch in. This is the wild card. We don't know what this wants to do. It is Pressure, which is its only ability, I believe. Do get Assault Cure. Could also be Thunder Wave. It is Leftovers, okay. So, Naclstack, yeah, I mean, we're not really doing anything to it no matter what. So, my answer to this is Screamtail, pretty much always. If it tries to set up, we on court. If it tries to set hazards, we on court. He doubles, he knows. Goes immediately into the King Gambit. He is Supreme Overlord, we do confirm that. So, with one ally fainted, he's probably KOing. If he Swords Dances here, it's a problem. I don't know if we can let him Swords Dance here. But he might also just dump an Iron Head and KO our best answer into a setup Deoxys. I mean, we could also go with this, get an Intimidate, but we're not doing much outside of that. I could Thunder Wave. I can't let this go down, unfortunately. So, yeah, we just go back into Knackle. Eventually, if he does Swords Dance and then decides to kowtow, I think we have to trade Knackle for the King Gambit, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Does Iron Head, so we do make the right call. We don't have to recover here. So I definitely do just Salt Cure. I don't really care what he wants to do. So Swords Dance, Iron Head. So we can assume Sucker last. I'm not going to write it down, but we can probably assume, because my team is so fast, that he would want that. Corby comes in. We're almost sure this isn't U-turn as well, because it is Pressure. So it is slowly running us out of Salt Cures, which is kind of funny. Luckily, Salt Cure is, I think, 24 uses at max. So, big damage. Man, this is going to be like an hour-long battle. That's kind of wild. I think I can honestly go Wake here, be a little more aggressive, especially because the main thing Wake was here for is not here, and try to get some, like, big doubles going. Try to get some offensive momentum. So he switches first, which is nice. Hopefully not Chansey. Into Deoxys. Okay. Could have double Salt Cured there, but that more pressure, you know, not really worth it. So, let's see, what kind of damage is Wake doing to a Deoxys defense? I mean, Draco's doing like half, which is kind of wild. I do think I want to knock off those leftovers, though. If he paralyzes me, it's fine. He does switch, hopefully Chansey. Yeah, buddy, get rid of that Eviolite. Goodbye, Eviolites. It doesn't look very Fizdef. It might be like more Spidef investment, maybe? I don't really know. Obviously, we can flip turn here. Now we've got him in the Vortex instead of he getting the momentum with both switches. If he switches, we get the flip turn momentum, which is pretty huge. So he does double, so we will get the momentum into the King Gambit. Flip turn, we'll do 20-ish% again. Yeah, not bad, not bad. So could show our Cinderace here. Is it like 65%? Also could, you know, very easily go Knackle. But that's not really advancing the game state that much. Unfortunately, though, with one ally fainted, well, Sucker's never KOing. So we can kind of freely low kick, but I do think Deoxys is kind of free to come in. Oh man, I am running out of Salt Cures, huh? Yeah, I think we go Cinderace here. Probably go for a Pyro Ball. I don't know. If Gouging Fire decides to come in, that's an issue. I think it's worse for us if Gouging comes in here than if Deoxys does, so we'll just go for a low kick because it does do a lot of damage to the Gouging. Like, literally like half, which is kind of wild. So, finally advancing the game state a little bit. He didn't bring any hazards, so Court Change was kind of a bust. Chansey comes in. I mean, it's not heavy, but this is still going to hurt. Goodbye, Chansey. That's pretty huge. Alright, so I should be keeping score. So Deidane dropped weight, got Deidane. Cinderace got the Pokemon that just fell, Chansey. So Deidane is 0-1. And Chansey is 0-1. I'm gonna taunt this because unless it's like Psycho Boost, we're fine. If it's Psycho Boost, it's Psycho Boost. But I don't know that he would be. So we do taunt, and he went for Calm Mind. Nice! So he has the Calm Mind set. So stored power, coverage of some type. What do we want to bring in here? We kind of have our choice. We don't want to leave this in because he's probably Psychic Move. I guess Weight comes in pretty much for free. And he no longer has Chansey to take special hits. So Chansey's gone. The only Pokemon he hasn't shown us yet is Gouging. Does switch. Gouging? Corviknight. Okay. That's fine. So, Walking Wake. I mean, we're doing like half-ish with Surf. I'm okay with doing that. Maybe taking a Body Press. We'll just go for Surf. Not willing to risk Hydro. Yeah, doesn't quite KO. He Roost. Could knock off the helmet, but I don't really see that being relevant. I mean, could he Roost stall me? I haven't been counting Roost, but he's clicked it at least 4 times, I want to say. 3 to 4 times. So this is a losing battle for him. Eventually something has to come in and take a Surf. And I don't think any of his Pokemon really want to. Deoxys is going to take pretty big damage before it can get Calm Mind set up. Gouging's going to take a pretty big hit, and Gambit obviously doesn't want to take it. So yeah, I think so far we've handled this game state pretty well. We just can't let it go to Gambit in the end, which is scary. Does just Brave Bird. Does a good chunk of damage, wow. And he probably lets this go here. If he lets this go, does he bring in Deoxys to try to set up on us? Or does he bring in Gouging Fire? I guess we're in a pretty good spot regardless, so I think we can just knock this out. So we do kill the Corviknight. So Wake is now 2 kills. Corviknight is 0-1. And it is gone. So Gambit's really the thing I'm worried about now. We cannot under any circumstances let it just set up for free on us. So I don't think Sinistcha can come back in, unfortunately. Gambit is the switch in, so he may try to pick me off with a Sucker Punch. It's probably sussed out at this point that I am Assault Vest, since I've shown 3 attacking moves and no Dragon move. So, can Gambit offensive Sword Stance? 3 allies fainted. Oh my gosh. Yeah, he's definitely knocking us out with a Sucker here. I don't mind. Oh, so he's going for game. He's going for Sword Stance. Luckily for us, we do have Rocky Helmet. Is he at below 20% though? I really hope so. He has to sucker here. So I can save Wake. Can go into this, get Intimidate, slow him down a little. But I also think I just go into Sinistra because honestly, Rocky Helmet's going to KO him, right? He's not going to live on like 1 and then sweep me. So we do bring in Sinistra, hopefully to KO him. Does show Sucker last, which we fully expected. Hopefully Helmet KOs him here. If it doesn't, I'm going to be really sad. Kowtow's. Nice. Okay, we get the KO with the Rocky Helmet. That is a huge relief. So, Sinistra ends 1-1. Helmet KO. Gambit ends at 1-1. His last two are Gouging Fire and Deoxys. Obviously, Cinderace can just taunt both of them. Jigglypuff could also Thunder Wave. And if he tries to set up on me, I could Encore it. So I actually think this is the play. Could also be the time to get this in. But it's definitely riskier. So we'll just go into our Screamtail. He does bring in Deoxys. We'll just go for Thunder Wave. Do land. Hopefully Calm Minds. Does Calm Minds, so now he can Encore. So, yeah, now he's locked in. Screamtail does eventually beat this, but I don't think I want to play the 1v1 game, so I would like to knock it maybe with Wake or even bring in Knackle and threaten it. I don't know. I have options. He does get back to full off leftovers. I could have knocked him earlier, but... Or actually, no, I couldn't have. He did switch on that. So we'll just Encore. So please continue going for Calm Minds. Oh, but it fully parried, but it was going for Calm Mind, so that's all it can do. Wait, does pressure work on moves like Encore? It does. I can only use it 4 times. Oh, that's kind of scary. So what's my best way to deal with it? I guess Taunt. I could Sulk here. That's kind of hard, actually. This helps me with stored power, but I don't know what his coverage is. I do think I will go into Knack. That's kind of a losing battle for me once he gets fully set up. Could go for Wish and pass it into this, but then he can start setting up again. I think I will go for Wish, 1 Wish. So he does switch. So I can paralyze the Gouging Fire. Booster? Booster. Okay, booster attack or speed? Booster speed. Alright, so he's maximum of 168 attack. Which is great news for us. So, Timid. 68 attack. Actually, no, he could be more. Because Timid gave him more than I thought. Oh, never mind. He can be max attack. I'm crazy. But if he's max attack, then he can't be any health. Because he's more speed, right? So he's got to have a lot of speed investment. Screamtail takes, 40%. We get our Wish back this turn, so I can just click Thunder Wave pretty freely. It does just Dragon Dance. Worst case is we miss Thunder Wave here. We do land it. So he's +1 speed boosting, but he's paralyzed. So if we give him the +1 and the +1, but then we say he's paralyzed, he actually still could outspeed if he's max speed. But does Nacl care? Even a +1, like, it's not doing really anything to us. I mean, yeah, he's doing 30% to Nacl at most, so we can go into that for free. Does heat crash? This should do minimal. Not bad. Actually quite a bit of damage. Yeah, 19 to 22, so we are lighter than I guess I anticipated. We'll just Sulk here. It bothers both of his remaining Pokemon. He does have Earthquake. Not too much damage. Sulk here hits him, and he will start taking residual chip. Might be Morning Sun. We'll just go for recover here, and then I will take more notes so he knows booster speed. You know, he's EQ, Heat, Crash, DD. We will heal way up. So we aren't close to losing to this guy, are we? Like, we can always Intimidate, bring him back to neutral. He does outspeed everything potentially, but with Sulk here on him now, he can't do too much. I could recover again, but he might also DD here. I think recover again and then Iron Defense is our best play. Yeah, so he does Earthquake again. This is just like crit prevention. We'll heal up. We do, I think, ultimately win this exchange, assuming we don't get crit, which is very likely with how many turns we've been playing. But I will go for the Iron Defense here. Very safe. He is Morning Sun last. Unluckily for him, if we get to +6, Body Press is doing 71 to 84. So it's a losing game for Gouging Fire. I don't even know if +6 is necessary. Like, I think +4 is perfectly fine since it doesn't matter to Deoxys anyway. Even +2, I think I'm just going to go for 1 Body Press here, just to put more pressure on. He does switch into the Deoxys, so gives up his booster and his boost. Deoxys comes in. I still don't know the coverage on this guy. I think I will go for Assault here before I switch into Screamtail though. Just for a little extra pressure. I don't know, if he's a big... I mean, no, he's not doing any damage to me. Does Calm Minds. That's bold. If I win the Screamtail, you're stuck in the Encore loop again. So we do let him get 1 Calm Mind up. I will switch into Screamtail now, and even if he goes for an attacking move, we should be absolutely fine. This thing's offensive stats are abysmal. So, luckily for me, he did not bring a Covert Cloakmon this week, or this would have been a much harder battle. But Nacl is putting in so much work. He does hard switch. Okay, that's a good play. Calling my switch into Screamtail. I'm really glad I didn't give up Screamtail to the Iron Head earlier. That would have been disgusting. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know what he does here. Like, I can play rough, right? Pretty much for free. Show off my full set. Adversely, I go into this. I don't want to take an Earthquake with it, though. I will play rough once. I do want to try to pass a Wish into Walking Wake if I can, because Wake should clean this game up with a Draco plus a knockoff. Does just Heat Crash. Does a ton of damage. Wow. That is actually like kind of insane damage. Almost 50% from presumably timid gouging fire. So I definitely do want to switch back into the Knackle here. It's just very slow in game, I'm sorry in advance, but you know, we both brought a lot of heals, so just kind of the nature of the game. Does go for EQ. Doesn't do much. Did perfectly call my move again, which, you know, very good on him. Goes for EQ again. Salt Cure. I think I might run out of PP before I can beat this with my remaining Pokemon. So I do want to get Quillfish set up at some point. I don't know when that is. He might Morning Sun here. I mean, there's no reason to do anything super risky. I just Iron Defense. Yeah, he just Earthquakes. So definitely could Morning Sun here, or switch into Deoxys. I'm gonna use one of my last 3 recovers. Does Earthquake again. Crit, I don't think knocks me out, yeah. So it looks like he's just giving up Gouging Fire at this point. Going for the Deoxys in-game. But if we Encore it into a Calm Mind at any point, it's over. It loses. So I just Body Press. Or I Salt Cure. I'm going to Salt Cure because I think that'll be enough to KO, and it also catches Deoxys on switch in. That's just Earthquake. Totally fine. Salt Cure the Gouging Fire, and yeah, it will knock it out. So Knackle gets a KO. Nice. So Naclstack gets a KO. Gouging drops. Without a KO. Could Salt Cure, but we could also just go Scream Tail and end the game. I think I'm just going to switch Scream Tail. We don't need to set another Salt Cure. I want to say this is probably Calm Mind, defensive move, recover, and stored power maybe? Does show Iron Defense. Okay, cool move. But unfortunately we can lock you into Iron Defense now. So I think it is solo stored power. I wanted to win with Quillfish, but I just realized Iron Defense is going to make that completely impossible. So we'll Encore, and then I guess we just go into Wake. Let it get some more kills. So yeah, really clean game by us. Honestly, thank you so much if you made it this far somehow. Thanks, because this is going to be an over hour-long video. I do appreciate you being here. I think we played the game methodically. I know I tend to slow play, but our opponent's team really didn't have a lot of great ways to break through us, so I thought this was our best way to win. And, I mean, it worked, right? So, it's kind of what we had to do. So we can go into Wake here. And probably just surf it a few times. He does get fully parried. He is almost at max health. Is it ever worth knocking him off? I don't think so, right? Actually, I think it's worth knocking him off. Wow, that is a Fizz-Def Deoxys. Alright, he gets fully parried twice. His Encore ended, which makes me think he might go for a different setup move now. I don't want to get stored power sweat, but I can't because I can just Encore him into stored power, right? And win with Quillfish, so we'll just surf. Yeah, that does huge damage. Does stored power, doesn't even do half. Nice AV Walking Wake's really coming in clutch too. I could Draco. I think it's safer to just surf. If we get knocked out, crit or whatever, that's okay. And he does stored power again. It does knock us out off a crit. This is our last special attacker. That's kind of scary. But we encore with Screamtail and then hard switch into Quillfish and hope that Quillfish knocks it out in 2. A little bit of a risky endgame. What? Did he end up getting +6? No, only +4. Okay, so yeah, Quillfish would knock it out. Screamtail's not knocking it out, like, ever. I'm doing 4%. Encore him into stored power. He's fully parried. Sorry, it definitely wouldn't have ever knocked out Screamtail, though. Now we bring in the Quillfish. So all the Pokemon got to see the field this time too, which is kind of sick. Unfortunately, we did not get to set this up as soon as I hoped we would. But actually, now that I think about it, this thing was pretty hard walled by Daytonay because no poison move. Which is kind of funny. Stored power doesn't affect us. And I do kind of want to show off the set. Is it ever worth doing this? I mean, yeah, it does the same damage and it's 95% accurate. So you do show off Pin Missile. That's nothing. Luckily we get 4 hits, but wow. But it looks like it's going to be just enough to knock it out with 4 hits, which is so funny. So, good games to Hydro. I love your team. I think even at 0-3, you can make a comeback at this point. So, make it, break through the season, meet me again in playoffs. Alright, man. So, GG's. This does put us, I believe, 2-1. I think we're like +7 now because of the 4-0. So yeah, doing pretty good, and we will see you next week. Thanks for watching.